My name's Lindsay Hollingsworth, and I am Tracy's daughter-in-law, as she likes to call me. I wanted to share my story about life. In December 2010, I chose life. I had just graduated from Florida State University, go Noles, with my degree in biology and a minor in chemistry. I was, at the time, working in a local ER as a scribe, and I was trying to gain clinical experience and hours because I had planned to go to graduate school. I knew I had to take some other courses at the local community college before I could apply to grad school. So that was my plan. I was gonna teach for a couple years, change the world, and then go to graduate school to do what I always wanted to do. So in that time, I met this cute boy, and his name was Chad, who eventually became my husband. We began dating and things moved really quickly. At that point in our relationship, it was, we were just having fun and enjoying lives. And we talked about long-term future, but it was never about, we talked about marriage and kids and, family, but that was down the line. That was the goal that we discussed with time. But little did we know that on December 27th, I woke up and I was up in New York and I was feeling sick, and I'm like, something's not right. At this point, I'd already taken like 5 pregnancy tests. I was like, they were all negative. Well, on December 27th, it was positive. So I immediately started freaking out. I had obviously a lot of emotions, a lot of fear, anxiety, I had resentment. I was thinking, how can I be a mom? I'm 22. Is this going to ruin my plans to go to PA school or graduate school? Because that was my focus. I called Chad. That was the next step, right? I'm going to call Chad and let him know. So actually I sent him a picture first, and that was surprising. And I immediately got a call, and I told him, I was like, there's no way, I can't do this. I don't want it. So I avoided using pronouns because I didn't want to have any bonding or any sort of connection with it, right? So he was hysterical on the phone. He's like, no, please don't do this. I'll take care of the baby. And I was like, no, I wasn't moved by his emotions because my plan, this was not in my plan. I told him that I would talk to my parents and let them know and get back with him. So we had a 3-hour drive home from New York to Pennsylvania, and I immediately started Googling abortion clinics because I'm like, I can easily take an abortion pill. It'll be over. I will never have to think about it. I had all these thoughts going through my mind, but they were all being justified. My beliefs wavered at this time. And so for someone to say, I'm never going to do this, you never really know how you're going to react or respond in a situation until you're in it. I called one and they were open. I was like desperate. I'm like, I need to talk about the abortion pill. And they were very calm. They were like, yeah, come on in, let's talk about options. And I was like, perfect. Mom drives me to this clinic in Harrisburg, which is about an hour from their house where we were at. And we pull up and I walk in, and that day, God changed my plans. I walked in, I didn't realize that it was a Christian counseling clinic. And so I walked up, I had a conversation with her for 2 hours. It was a long conversation. She laid out all the options. She let me talk and discuss my fears and my, answered my questions. And by the end of it, I had changed my mind. So I walked out and I told my mom, hey, I changed my mind. She's like, you need to call Chad. So I called Chad and I told him that I wanted to keep it. And so we decided together that we were going to go through with it 100%. We were going to be all in. After going through emotions of roller coasters with him, and, telling him I wanted to abort it, 2 days earlier, and then keeping it now was like, I couldn't imagine being on the other side of that. But, looking at this, looking back at it, I always think like what you think is like the biggest burden ends up being the biggest blessing. And so I don't know what we would do without our son. I share my story because I want others to know that an unwanted pregnancy is not an unwanted child. Even though I was afraid during this season, I decided that I would be fully committed and do the best that I can at this thing that they call motherhood. When I locked eyes on him on his birthday, September 2nd, I knew that I had made the right decision. What a journey looking back, and I'm able to smile witnessing all the blessings the Lord has provided for our family since then and will continue to do. So I started that season in 2010 with an unplanned pregnancy and in a new relationship. Chad turned out to be a wonderful, supportive husband that helped me achieve my desires and wishes to continue my education. I could not have done it without him or my family and friends. I don't know what my son will end up being in his life, but I do know that the potential of doing whatever he sets his heart on, and that God has him in his hand. I know that he has a purpose. I was given a choice of life or death, and I chose life. This is a choice that you're facing. Remember that an unplanned pregnancy is not an unwanted child. Things will look very different on the other side. Choose life.